privilege to be the Democratic nominee for Attorney General. Y'all look great. Y'all look beautiful. Y'all look ready to win an election. Y'all, I'm just so happy to be here among friends. I'm happy to be here with former Congressman, my friend John Barrow, who's going to be our next Secretary of State. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about why I'm running. You know, I mean, there's a reason for this, right? Y'all, I'm running for Attorney General because the vast majority of Georgians, they get up every day and they go to work. And if they are lucky, they are working one job. And many of them, far too many of them, are working 2 to 3 jobs. And they're doing that. Try to provide just a little bit better life. Just a little bit more opportunity for their kids than they had, and they can't quite do it. And they can't quite do it because there's powerful forces arrayed against them. And they come in the form of organized crime and gangs. They come in the form of special interests. And they come in the form of corrupt politicians. They care more about their seat in government and protecting those special interest buddies than they do about protecting the people of Georgia. And more than anyone, your Attorney General is supposed to be the one standing in between those hard-working Georgians trying to make life a little bit better and those forces that would do them harm. You're a lawyer. Well, you're supposed to be, right, kid? You're supposed to use the law to protect the people. And then if they are harmed, you're supposed to use the law to get them justice. Now, I'm going to say something that's not often said in politics these days. My opponent's a nice guy. I think I'm a pretty nice guy. But unfortunately, that doesn't have the first thing to do with being qualified to be the Attorney General. My opponent has never prosecuted a case. He's never tried a case. He's never argued a motion in front of a judge. He hadn't practiced law in 17 years, and his bar license was inactive for 9 years prior to being appointed to be the chief lawyer and top prosecutor for the people of Georgia. Now, y'all, if your father, if your grandmother, if your cousin, if your favorite niece needed an attorney, would you ever in your recommend to them, hire for them an attorney that never tried a case, hadn't practiced law in 17 years, and bar license was just inactive for almost a decade? You know, and I could stand here and say, listen, I want you to vote for me. I want you to tell your cousins about me and your neighbors and get everybody else to vote for me because I've got such a better resume. And I do. But this is more important than me and my resume. It's more important than my opponent and his. This has real life consequences for the people of Georgia. Because see, as my opponent sits in that seat that he's been appointed to, he doesn't have one assistant attorney general working on organized crime and gangs. He doesn't have one assistant attorney general working on human trafficking. And so, as he sits there and he doesn't have anybody working on those things because he's confused about his job, or he just doesn't know what he's doing, he's got us all involved on the wrong side of the greatest national debate that's going on right now. He's got me, you, and every person in this state involved in a piece of litigation pending before a federal judge in Fort Worth, Texas, that take away the health care of not only the 400,000 Georgians that are on the Affordable Care Act exchange, but would prevent Medicaid expansion to the 500,000 Georgians that so desperately needed, not to mention our 7 rural hospitals that have closed in the last 5 years that could use that funding. Not only that, but it puts on the chopping block the health care that over 4 million Georgians have a pre-existing condition, which, as the insurance companies interpret these days, Congressman, is, have you been sick before or are you a woman? And so, you know, when I'm elected tomorrow,
that's right.
when I'm sworn in January, not only am I going to build an organized crime and gang division for the first time in the history of the state of Georgia in the AG's office, not only am I going to build a civil rights division for the first time in the history of the state of Georgia and the AG's office, but on my very first day in office, office, I will take us out of that litigation. I will put us on the right side of that litigation, standing up for the people of Georgia and their health care and not the bottom line of the insurance companies.
Thank you.
And I'm going to leave you with this before I turn it over to my friend John. That is that Willie Watson is a country music songwriter and singer, and he wrote a song. It is titled, and in it he sings, "We are all in this thing together." And we are. These challenges that I speak of, the challenges that John's going to take on, they are great. The challenges that Governor Abrams will take on, they are great. They are not insurmountable. But I tell you what we won't do. We will not overcome them if we are divided, and make no mistake. There are those that build walls to divide us, and they profit off of it. Walls that divide us along the lines of race and ethnicity, of gender, of sexual orientation, of religion, of urban and rural, of rich, poor, middle class, of Democrat and Republican. And what I would urge you to do, is tear down those walls. Tear down those walls, stand on that rubble, demand of those that would serve you, demand of those who would pull their paycheck down from you, demand they do the same thing, demand it of us, and I promise you, you stand with us in this election and you will never have to apologize. And you will always know, my friends, Charlie and John, they fight for us. Thank y'all very much. Now I want to bring up my friend, John Barrow, the next Secretary of State of the Great State of
My name is John Barrow, and I'm proud to be the Democratic candidate for Secretary of State for Georgia.
All right.
I'm not asking for y'all's sympathy, okay? But I do want y'all to sympathize with me. Because I'm running for the office that's been run for the last 12 years by Brian Kemp and Karen Handel. And somehow I put in mind of the story of that rookie center fielder playing his first big games, and then he committed 3 errors in a row. Dropped a fly ball, ran into that right post. Finally fielded the ball, threw it to the wrong base. He was finally yanked by the manager. And as he's trotting off the field, he sends in the old reliable down there, and that guy, the very next play, the moment he commits an obvious error. Finally, the inning's over, and old reliable's trotting off the field. And I says, "Well, what in the world happened to you?" He said, "Well, it was that other guy's fault, Coach. He got center field so screwed up, nobody can play." There is no institution in state government that is so screwed up that it can't be fixed with new management. I'd be remiss if I didn't begin by pausing at least once to say thank you to so many of the people who are here today. It's good to be with home folks. I represented all 3 different versions of Georgia's 12th district. It was a great honor to do so, and Augusta and Richmond County is the only major city that stayed put in all 3 versions. And without the help of a lot of y'all, I wouldn't be in the position I'm in right now. Just one very short step away from being our next Secretary of State. Now, I'm running for Secretary of State for a lot of reasons. I can think of 700,000 reasons right off the top of my head. That is how many people depend on this office every day for the license they've got to have in order to practice their profession or to pursue their business. That's 700,000 small businesses, 700,000 families depending on this office all the time. The business community depends on this office. The business community depends on this office exclusively for business formation and registration purposes. And small business, the part of our economic engine that's creating jobs instead of shedding jobs, getting rid of jobs, they depend on the Secretary of State's office more than big business does because they can't afford an inefficient or unresponsive bureaucracy of the Secretary of State's office. So the business community depends on this office all the time. But for all of us, all 10.4 million of us, we depend on it at election time because the Secretary of State is our chief election official in Georgia. The Secretary of State is the person who we hire to make sure that our elections are fair. And I don't think you can say our elections are fair.
No.
If it's a whole lot harder for some folks to just register than it is for others. If it's harder still for some folks just to stay registered than it is for others. And if it's harder still for some folks to vote on election day than it is for others. Starting in January, after I'm elected tomorrow, it's going to be the policy of the Secretary of State's office that it's going to be as easy for every eligible Georgia citizen to vote as it is for any. I'm also running for another reason, to try and bring some balance back into state government. Everywhere I've traveled across the state, everyone I've encountered, everyone I've run into over a year and a half now, they're saying, we want people to work together. We want folks to work across party lines. We want folks to actually put aside their differences and work on the common good. When I was in Congress, and I'm going to say something that's not going to be universally happy with everybody, I was able to work with folks on both sides of the aisle, Democrats and Republicans, to cut taxes and to eliminate wasteful spending. And as Secretary of State, I want to do that again. I'm going to be working across party lines, working with folks to try and solve our major problems. We've got a lot of things to fix, but there's nothing that we can't fix if we're working on it together. One last thing I want to say to our audience not here. If you have not voted yet, tomorrow is your next and your last chance to vote in this election. Polls will be open from 7 in the morning until 7 in the evening. You'll have to vote at your precincts. Please do not fail to vote. Make a plan to vote. Take someone with you, a family member, a friend, someone who hasn't yet voted. The thing we all need to know is that everybody votes whether they realize it or not. The folks who don't vote every bit as much in impact in terms of as folks who do. The difference is folks who don't vote, their vote does not count as much as the folks who actually make the effort to go and cast a ballot for the candidate of their choice. This is the most important election in a long time, so please make the effort to vote tomorrow. And if you're going to vote, I'd be proud to have your support as our next Secretary of State. And what I'd like to do at this time, unless there's any other business, is to turn the matter over for any questions you all might have, either for us or any of the other elected officials who are in this body. We've got some good folks here with us. Please, every elected official, please raise your hand. Let folks know that you're here. Now's a good time.
Mr. Barrow, someone who's running for the state currently held by Brian Kemp, can you comment on yesterday's headlines, not just here in Georgia, but across the country, about the pro? What's your take on what's going on right now in his seat?
I cannot offer anything on it, because I literally don't know anything about it that I haven't read and that y'all haven't read. But here's something that I know. I think it's very important that this whole country benefit from the education we're having in Georgia about what the Secretary of State does. The whole country had a crash course on the various hats that the Secretary of State wears. And they really don't know very much about a lot of the hats, but they sure know more about the election responsibility than was the case before. And the things that have been highlighted in this race because of the high-profile nature of the governor's race should be a lesson to us all, that all of these other offices on the ballot are every bit as important in their area of responsibility, but we don't know anything about them. So we should take advantage of this. It's a learning moment for us to learn what the Secretary of State's office does. It's important, folks, to realize that these people that we're electing to these offices, they're our chief election officers, they're our chief lawyers. They have an incredible responsibility that the big ticket office doesn't have. As important as that office is in its area of responsibility, there are other areas of responsibility that folks are running for that are just as important in their jurisdiction. And I think we're getting a good education on that in this election. Anything for Charlie? Anything for
Yes.
It's no secret, it doesn't matter what seat you're trying to run, trying to fill, it is tough to overthrow an incumbent. Why do you feel that you have the ability to overthrow an incumbent? What do you feel that you bring? I know you smiled when you said it, that your resume is better than his. Can you touch on that a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, look, if you were going to hire a chief of surgery at the medical college, hospital, right?
Yeah.
Would you ever hire a surgeon that never held a scalpel? Someone that never operated. I mean, you can go down the line. You could say, if you got to get somebody to run a bank, you're going to get somebody that's never done a deal. It is that simple, and I don't mean to be glib about it at all, but it is that simple. And no, there's no U.S. attorney, there is no DA, all right, that would hire someone to run their office as their chief deputy that had never prosecuted a case. There is no law firm in this state. There's no law firm in this country, mid-size, major, that would hire as a managing partner somebody never taken a deposition, never stood in front of a judge. And so, why in the world should, for the top prosecutor in the state, and for the people's law firm, which is what the Attorney General is, why should they settle for something like that? And it's really that simple. So the other thing is they didn't, incumbents are usually tough or tougher to beat when the people chose them. They didn't choose this guy. He's run as many times as I have this one time. And they didn't elect him. So they don't know who he is either. I mean, when we started this thing out, my chief strategist said, yeah, Charlie, nobody knows who you are. That's okay. Nobody knows who he is either. And so that's what this campaign's been about, is educating and talking to people about, one, what do you want to see from your top prosecutor and your top lawyer? And then saying, these are the things that I think I can bring to it. And then we put it to the people. But I hadn't been intimidated since we got in by someone that the people didn't choose. And they're going to get to choose tomorrow.
You've already chosen.